All right, this is the Cincinnati Bengals Week 3 scouting report. Today we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Vikings. They're 1-1 coming in. I want to go straight to the film and start talking about what they do well on offense and on defense. So I want to start with defense. Their DC is Brian Flores, very aggressive play caller, especially on third down. Some of the things we saw last week with the Jags that they do is something that the Vikings do as well. But as you can see here, the Minnesota Vikings come out in a 3-4 front. Now what's great about that is you can kind of disguise where the pressure is coming from. But let's go ahead and just get the film to start rolling. I'm going to show you the first two clips of the game from last week. So the problem with that 3-4 front is there's 7 players, obviously. And when we go to the end zone shot, I'm going to pause it right here. So as you can see, if you have a 2 tight end personnel package, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 run gaps to try to fit with only 7 players. So there's obviously a gap that's always going to be there. And you can kind of manipulate the defense in that sense and create unbalanced lines. Now I know 7's a great player. But this is the first prediction I would like to make is I think Chase Brown's about to have a big game. More than 100 yards, definitely start him in fantasy. But I think he's going to have a big game for sure. This is the second play. They got almost 50 yards on the first 2 plays. And sometimes when these things work, the best coaching call that you can make is calling the same play, same concept, just the other side. So as you can see, they're stretching those guys outside there, just allowing the back to find the hole. So I definitely think that's going to continue to happen. All right, so on this play, I want to show you guys, this is one of their coverages. As you can see, they show like a muddled look at the line of scrimmage or mugged, where they have both linebackers up at the line of scrimmage. And that creates problems for the offensive line's protection. It might dictate how they're going to set their protection. But after they didn't go, they kind of just dropped to a spot. I noticed this on several plays. They're not really doing any kind of match zone or anything like that. Their guys are going to a spot on the field, and that is going to create some openings for us and our receiving corps. So that's definitely a way that we want to take advantage, is knowing that these guys just kind of drop to space. I think this is another clip of they're not, as you can see, they're not really covering anybody. And then you can see here that there's two open guys. And this is like a 2nd and 12. They actually got home on this play, only sent 4, but that is something to consider. So moving on, talking about defense, there's a 3-4. They play aggressive. They do show that mugged look, kind of like the Jaguars did. And then they play a lot of cover 1 or cover 0 behind it, which is man. And then, like I said, they drop to, when they do play zone, they kind of drop to nowhere. So that's kind of interesting. Now, I wanted to show you some kind of the communication issues the Vikings were having in Week 1 against the Bears. He sent his running back out. Running back kind of looked like he didn't really know what was going on. Finally get things worked out, and then throws a pick 6. So that's not good. But also, I want you to understand, after watching the last two games for the Minnesota Vikings, they played 7 quarters of really bad football. And then they kind of just woke up. And I understand that we're not playing McCarthy again this week. I was super, super excited to hear that he had a baby like 10 days ago, because I thought that was going to mean that he was going to play us 10 days later with no sleep. And I thought that would obviously affect his decision making. He hurt his ankle. Wentz is playing now, as we all know. I don't have any film on him from years ago, and it could be a totally different offense. But as you can see, after 7 quarters and lots of 3 and outs, somebody kind of, I don't know if they let them know that they could score points, but then they ended up scoring 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter on Monday Night Football against the Bears. So, they kind of woke up. This is some of the things that they can do. That was a great move by the back there. I'm sure that backer knew he was cooked there. I'm sure he knew it was a touchdown. So they can definitely play. They've got some good concepts, but like I said, they struggled. They really, really struggled for 7 out of the 8 quarters that they played. So again, kind of summing up, there's no film on Wentz, lots of bad quarters, and really what I'm hoping happens is they did give up sacks. So they gave up a lot of sacks in week 2. I saw only 3 in week 1, but look at this tackle. Look at this tackle getting beat outside. That is something I want to see by 91. So we're wearing white, to get your white 91 jerseys ready, because I think Trey's going to have a big day. I think he's going to have at least 2 sacks. I think the Bengals win. I have us winning 31-19, starting the season 3-0. Let's go.